We have everyone present. It is, we can call the meeting to order at 6:11. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, Mr. Feder. He's on the line and will be joining us shortly. And welcome, guest Tom O'Connor. Sorry, Tom O'Connor. We can raise to say the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Participants.
Kate Bokula, Chairman, Megan Wicks, Vice Chair, Kathy Grant, Secretary, Martha Calvaro, Val Mustiano, Sarah Thompson, and Chris Wilson. Also present is John Fender, virtually for now, Amy Cephalino, and Tom O'Connor.
Okay, I'll say the Board of Education's mission statement as we do each month. The Voluntown Board of Education's mission is to provide our students the skills essential to reach their highest potential in a safe environment for learning as they aspire to become responsible, respectful, and civic-minded members of society. We commit to help educate, challenge, and inspire each child to excel as lifelong learners who can adapt constructively in an ever-changing, multicultural, and technological world. Okay. So with that, we have a pretty, it's not too onerous agenda with us, but we do have a special guest, Tom O'Connor, joining us, head of our director of food services. So welcome, and
thank you.
We always enjoy hearing from you and seeing you in person.
Yeah, no, it's been another year. It goes by quick.
It does, right?
I know I only come typically in the summer, but a recap of the year and kind of some of the focuses and challenges for the next school year. So there is a financial report that was part of the packet, I believe. But yeah, that in front of you sort of gives you a year over year in terms of finances, but the number we're looking at is meal counts, and you could see if you have it, you know, we hit COVID, went to the hybrid type learning, so our number for meal counts were way down, and you're looking like 1920, and then as we transitioned back, meals were all free, so our meal counts were really high into 21 to 22, and then 22, 23. We did transition back last year to have breakfast be free, but lunch we paid for, and then this past school year, everything was back to full pay. And the numbers reflect that as a decline based on people having to pay for meals. So some of the challenges we're seeing, one is now less participation based on the meals not being free anymore, but also you know, kind of experiencing a census drop too in terms of enrollment. So the challenges we're having also to start this new year coming is we get a commodity allowance for USDA foods. Essentially, that's an open checkbook register for reimbursable meals. You get an allowance to be able to pre-purchase those items. I purchase all those items typically in February for the newest school year. But because the meal counts continue to drop, the allowances are less. And that allowance is also based on inflationary numbers. So could be a case of ground beef used to be $200, now it's $225. So your dollar, like the grocery store, just doesn't go as far either. So we're hoping that reimbursements kick up. You know, we're seeing inflationary numbers go super high. I am here to recommend that we increase the paid lunch price from $3.75 to $4. That advice typically comes from a tool that the USDA gives you. It's called the Paid Lunch Equity Tool. And it basically takes all inflationary indexes. And the theory is you're free. The kids that qualify for free meals are free. And that finance covers them. That money, in theory, isn't supposed to pay for a full paid kid, right? It's sort of, you have to look at it 3 different demographics. A paid kid should pay what it costs to make a meal for a paid kid. Reduced, we get the funding for that, and then paid the same way. So the new tool has us recommending that we go to $4 Griswold's already at 4. I do work with other districts, and everybody's getting the same advice to consider going to $4. Now, if you don't have to. But if you do not, then in theory, the Board of Ed is supposed to pay the difference. So in theory, they're going to try to help offset the cost for families that are paid. But the board's also going to subsidize the lunch program that difference, right? So at this point, it's probably not telling you guys anything you don't know. Food is expensive. Labor has really increased since COVID. Minimum wage has gone way up, which is a good thing. But, there's a cost to those things. So that's what I'm basically here to do, have you consider raising the lunch prices to $4 for the new school year.
What about breakfast?
Breakfast, you don't really have to, they don't have a paid lunch equity breakfast.
Okay.
So I wouldn't recommend raising that. There is some incentives from the state of Connecticut to run breakfast. So even though you get a reimbursement from the federal government for breakfast, you also get an incentive to run breakfast programs, a few $1,000s. So our breakfast counts aren't so large that it's an area of growth. We just really, need to focus on possibly promoting breakfast more. Again, some families like to feed their kids at home. That's a parental decision for sure, but we want to make good quality things available. But we do get about $2,800 as an incentive just to run breakfast. So participating in the breakfast program kind of helps offset some of the costs. And breakfast, the way menu components we do is 2 whole grain items, a half a cup of fruit and milk. Milk runs us about 33 cents a piece. Fruit, if you utilize government or quality stuff in season, you're looking at another 30. And then bread items could be like, 40 cents. You're looking raw food costs to be like $1.10. So we can keep breakfast around $2.25 and sort of allow that. We do have some labor costs, but they're also doing lunch. So I think breakfast could stay at the price that we're at now. Still want to encourage people to come.
How much free lunch do we have of people that qualify for free lunch or reduced? Is it like 20% of our people?
Probably about 28 to 30% distributors every year. That's free and reduced combined.
That dropped a little. There was, at one point, Husky, if you're on Husky insurance, you automatically qualify. The state's kind of downplayed that benefit now, so we did lose a few people that were Medicaid reduced or Medicaid free. That's across the state, it wasn't just Voluntown.
So they're not letting kids on Husky get the free lunch anymore?
You can in certain levels, but it used to be a guarantee. It's no longer a guarantee. I think it's income-based even with the Huskies, so.
Because this year we really got hit with the food and dietary. We underestimated, had to take money from other parts of the budget and move it over. Because we want to make sure we're not in that place again, taking 20, 30,000, have to figure that out where we're going to pick it up in the rest of the budget.
Yeah, there's definitely some challenges,
Yeah.
We're really hoping the Fed rates help offset a lot. The Fed rates aren't going up as quick as some of the inflationary rates. So those rates typically come out a little closer to the start of the school year.
Does our money come out of where? U.S.? Oh, do we come out
We
of
get
the
a majority of our lunch money from the federal government.
Yeah, but does
state
it come
does-
out of the education department or does it come out of the?
I couldn't tell you
US?
exactly, honestly.
Because they're breaking down the education department and just not going to
Yeah,
happen.
it's going to be USDA,
Okay, you think?
right? So
Yeah.
the food will come, the money will come from the USDA. How it gets from the USDA to us, I'm not exactly sure that path. But the state of Connecticut, we do HFC, which we voted on prior to, so we couldn't have it done for July 1. There's an incentive to be healthier. We get an additional revenue per reimbursable meal. So that would be state money, and some of these incentivized pieces to do like breakfast programs, that money comes from the state. So there's some state match money as well, but majority of the money is coming federally.
I think we'd be foolish thinking we're going to get more from the federal government.
A higher rate for sure, but then it starts to be, the challenge becomes, we don't have a lot of free and reduced, and
Yeah.
that's typically those everyday eaters, right? And so, and if you have 2 or 3 kids,
Yeah.
a quarter does make a difference for sure. So,
Yeah.
but where's the quarter going to come from? That's the hard part.
How much does it cost, like all in, to make a lunch?
It depends. It's always been the formula to try to utilize the most amount of your government commodities to keep the cost down, because in theory, we're working off a credit and allowance. So if we creatively do that, but you also sort of have to give those items that the kids will eat too, right? You're trying to get them to eat every day. So you might have to do a give and take, right? I can't get away from pizza. You know what I mean? I can't get away from chicken nuggets. There's certain items, but those are the days that the kids will buy, right? So. Without doing the labor component, we try to run lunch about $1.75 for raw food costs, and breakfast you're around like $1.10 to $1.20 if possible, so those are the targets you shoot for.
When we were shooting for that previously to this year, we came in where we're supposed to, because we're not supposed to make money, we're not supposed to lose money.
It's hard to give you.
But last year, we didn't make money yet. We had a big loser. It came out of other parts of our budget.
It's hard to give you a food cost per person rate, because it really determines how many people, right? There's efficiencies in numbers, right? So, if I could do 100 people versus 50, and the food cost full cases, right? You're going to still assume that inventory. The efficiency is in the numbers for sure.
I think right now we're, where we're at, we're already, the board is subsidizing that extra, it's probably already at $4, but we all year long have had to subsidize
Yeah,
it, which
we've
is,
had to dump money into
which is,
food
which
services
makes
all-
sense for how it's gone. You had
Yeah.
said like they made the order early and then everything went up after that, so.
Yeah, sadly, this is the challenges for all districts. This isn't just unique to Voluntown.
Of course,
sadly.
yeah.
So you're hoping that pendulum, we sort of saw COVID come in. We all experienced COVID money like no end. And you knew that pendulum was going to swing back, and it's a matter of how far back does it swing to go from so much to nothing. I feel like we're sort of need to right that ship and get back to the middle, but we're going to need some help.
Right. I think it's just it's a matter of what our board feels that we can stomach, if it's whether we want to put it back on the parents for 25 cents, or if we want to, put it on what we've been doing, which is.
We don't have anything in the budget this year to be covering.
How much did we
covered that.
subsidize last year, or last school year?
I mean,
You know?
it's hard to tell exactly, but it was like.
15 to 20,000. Yeah, because of how things shook out and the cost of things going up and the low numbers, that was not what was expected. So with the budget we're presenting, I don't think we have the money to say we can pick this up for people. That's just my opinion on it, because we had to take a sizable chunk here and there.
Would the 25 cents even cover the difference? Because if
It's
what
still
you're
not-
saying,
It's still not going to make up the
25%, yeah.
deficit.
No.
In theory, you could argue you could lose a little bit of participation, possibly, but, it's,
But
at
I
least it's
don't think
accounted for
it'll
where
be
it
as
should be.
bad because the budget wasn't made. It was more back, what Adam had figured out in it was more back to when we were on the free and reduced and hoping that more would be coming. And I don't see any more free and reduced coming. So, no, a quarter is not going to make up all that and stuff.
I started with you guys here in Voluntown like 2008, so there's been a lot of shifts over those years, right? It used to be that maybe part of the benefit or salaries came out of admin, but then COVID came and we had so much money that we were able to subsidize so many things that weren't always subsidized by food service. So by default, sometimes that money then goes to be allocated for somewhere else, and then when it swings back where you were paying Peter before, you know what I mean? Now you're back and you're like, wow, we have this huge.
Another thing
So
that
it's a house of cards and a little bit of.
we're not going to have money in the grant that comes for the preschool to pay for lunch.
No, we're not gonna
No,
start preschool.
we're not even gonna have that this year, so we're gonna have to be paying for that, for the preschool kids. That's only gonna cover salaries, the amount of the grant we got. It's not gonna cover the food, having,
We're not.
they have like a little sit-down meal all together.
Yeah, I think
We're
this
gonna
year, and what we discussed before is, parents are gonna be responsible, so they can either send in a lunch,
Oh, are they?
or they can buy lunch just like any other normal child going through the lunch. So we might get some more free and reduced numbers through that, but only a handful. It's not gonna change your percentage.
For the kids.
Yeah.
I remember how terrified my first child was to, and this was just kindergarten. They was like, I refuse to step foot through that line. Never, no way am I going through the lunch line. Nope. And I'm, at that point, she was 6, so it's like, I can imagine the 3-year-old.
Yeah.
I think we might do that. I think we might, because it's gonna be a small number, like maybe
Yeah,
10 to
it's
12, who actually want to buy lunch. Kids are picky too,
Yeah.
so.
But that's something we used out of the grant last year.
And that was always at a reduced rate. Tom and
Yes.
I always worked out a reduced number for that amount, but even that amount still cost us,
Yeah.
cost the grant at least $20,000 just to feed 44 kids times 225 times how many days. And it was expensive.
It does, it adds up.
I think we should pass on the quarter because we don't know what's coming down the road, which could make it even worse and would have a bigger deficit to make up. And it is, in 25 cents, it's not negligible if you added up all the school days. However, it's kind of the reality of the situation, and we
You
can't
don't think we ought to?
discount that.
You don't think we should do the 4?
So I think we should
Oh,
do the
yeah, you said
$4.
pass on the 4. I thought you
100%.
meant make it go away.
I didn't
Okay, I didn't hear that correctly. I was like, oh.
I noticed you're looking at me stunned. No, I think we should raise it.
I think you're right, because we got hit this year.
Tom, you think it's going to get worse before it gets better?
I wish I could say. I wish I could say, honestly. It really is gonna be contingent upon what the Fed rates have to come out at, we're doing some summer meals in Grizzled, and some of those reimbursements are hitting we're getting $5 back. So that's a number we need, honestly.
Yeah.
So we're hoping now, I think a free was, $4.38 federally, but
Now, is
You know, if that-
Briscoe's reimbursement rate $5?
what's that?
Will their school year rate be $5?
No, they usually incentivize you to do summer meals
Oh,
because
okay.
they know it's out of the norm.
Yeah.
But, if we're talking, that rate was, $4.38, whatever it was last year. But now this index is telling you that the paid lunch is going up 38 cents. That you have to hopefully believe that the Fed reimbursement rate is also going to mirror that somewhat. So,
How is our kitchen equipment?
kitchen equipment is really, knock on wood, pretty good. I mean, during COVID, we did a lot of upkeep and upgrades, we have the new freezer box and we've gotten new ovens since then. And,
Yeah.
I gotta say,
Hanging out by a thread.
Brian Facilities does a pretty amazing job. Paul was great before, but, he did not miss a beat, what he does a lot of work, Brian. So the kitchen, it couldn't be in better condition at this
that's
point
good.
than what we have.
I think with this budget, we don't have a space to really absorb anything
Yeah.
either. So it's just so tight that if we don't raise it to $4 and then we have to absorb $15,000 into the budget, like, it's just not gonna work this year, the way that it's been cut.
Did we do an increase last year as well?
We didn't,
Okay.
no, it's been a little while.
Right, I remember.
It was, typically you could almost get used to those, COVID-y, COVID was a whole different thing
Right.
because of the reimbursement.
Yeah.
Prior to, you could almost,
25 cents.
it was like 9 cents a year,
Oh.
It was, so you could always raise a quarter and get 4 years or 5 years before you had to do it. But now you're talking, in the last 2 years, you're over 55 cents in 2 years, so.
Yeah.
That's the crazy
It's
part.
just, that's just the
So,
beast of it all, yeah.
and you wonder too, right? You start to see like, where are you gonna get this money? There is some districts through some of the forums that were belong, there's, districts considering dropping out of school lunch. because the requirement of what you need to serve and what, what you're doing.
We didn't always have school lunch here. We had handbag, bag lunch, and that was it.
Yeah.
1990, they put in
Yeah.
the kitchen,
Yeah.
and that's probably when it started.
That was
I
when,
think when those things are coming, those realities, I would think that the government would want to somehow incentivize you to at least break even.
and I think even if Connecticut may want to incentivize it, they're going to be facing all these cuts also within things they're talking about in another session. I don't know what will happen with that. So I kind of agree with Chris. I think we need.
I was gonna say, Scott, do you have any questions about it?
Kate, I am pulling in right now.
Okay,
Okay,
we'll
we'll wait for you to vote.
we'll give you, we'll amongst ourselves. until we take 'em.
It'll be 1 second.
Like the ice
That's
cream
fine.
and stuff like that,
Come on, Eddie.
like I call it like the fun stuff, like
Outside of?
experience more, yeah, like outside of like your lunch.
A little, right? We sort of use it as a
On
process.
Fridays.
Okay. Is that, I mean, something that would be worth like doing every day or like 3 days a week or, you don't want to sugar up the kids all
I mean,
day.
they could, I mean, we sell it on Friday, only because that's when we have like to sell,
Are you
we can do it any days we
I'm
want.
sorry, are you limited what you can sell out?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe 40.
Round out.
Yeah. So-
Well, that's what
I actually was not planning on wearing this, but this is what you get today.
Oh, it's summer sessions, don't worry about
You
it.
want the bathroom?
The actual like.
No.
You wait, haven't done anything.
Good.
I told you.
Got better. Got better.
A couple of quick questions. Is that all right?
Yes,
Yeah,
perfect.
So new for me, can you explain how it would work? You said if we don't charge the parents,
Mhm.
we have to pay the 25.
In theory, right?
So explain that. I don't understand that.
So and that's a good question because this government, I think we agree, will tell you every single thing you can do or you're supposed to do. But here they give you the flexibility to set your lunch prices, right? So there's a pay lunch equity tool that we use from the USDA that tells you if you can serve this lunch under $4.01, which is the new one, and you can round down to the closest nickel, $4. If you can prove you can sell it cheaper than that, then you're all set. But if you can't prove you can do it, then in theory, the board's agreeing to subsidize that difference. But based on the amount of meals we do and our labor costs with food, we're over the $4 based on the tool.
The cost of what we spend on a lunch.
Correct.
Right. So I think we spent 28,000 last year on food service.
And that was supposed to be a break even, no win, no loss
Right.
with the food. And we ended up having to keep moving money throughout the year because the change from the COVID lunches, Connecticut had some pre-breakfast and then that disappeared. But,
Now that we're back to fully
Yeah.
paid if you don't qualify for the free meals,
yeah,
our meal counts are back consistent
with
with
what
they
we
were
had before
pre-COVID.
COVID,
But also with the reduced amount of students we had, right? The enrollment sort of shrunk
About-
too.
20 kids,
Wow.
yeah.
I'm not
And then-
adverse to shuttering the kitchen, actually,
So what they're getting, sorry?
just closing it.
Oh.
I'm not adverse to that at all. And if we have we do have a consistently declining enrollment, lower numbers for meals.
I don't know if we're at that point yet.
No,
I'll say, I mean, I
hate to see
think,
that.
We're saving
Yeah.
a lot
Use
of
it for a
budgetary
lot other-
things as
I
A
know.
well.
lot easier for a
but
lot
there
of
are,
things
but
too.
there are, there's
They
a,
should not say
there's a
that.
significant portion of our student population that relies on free or reduced lunch, and I think it's a reality that is their access.
Yeah, it's about 30%, 20 to
nutrition.
30% in that free and reduced. And Scott, in previous years, we had enough covering the preschool program. From the grant we got for preschool, this year's grant is only covering salary, period. And that's all that's left. Amy had made some arrangements, they can buy lunch and whatever, so.
I can't be sure to your point either that possibly the government incentivizes you to run the lunch program by linking participation in the lunch program to other grants.
The grants we get, we lose
Yeah, I
that
don't
money,
think we could
Chris.
ever get rid of it completely. It would just be like, is it instead of like a hot lunch, is it like a bagged
Bag
sandwich
lunch.
with, like that's, because
One question
Sarah's
for
point, like we
Amy.
have to make sure the kids are eating.
I'm sorry, when we sell a la carte, can we sell whatever we want? You can't sell chips and crap.
You can sell things, we can sell things off the list, there's a list that the
yeah.
state provides.
Yeah.
It's a list of healthy snacks and chips. that you
And
can
that's
buy.
all you can
And
That's
sell.
what we do.
We had sold quite a bit of that, like during COVID.
Yeah.
Like more so, and then we
Yeah.
found like they didn't really buy it. A lot of kids come with their own chips.
Yeah.
Sometimes we would sell drinks, they didn't buy the drinks, you know, it's like
Yeah,
hit or
and then
miss,
we're
so.
stuck with them.
you know, right now,
Chips don't hold up.
Dessert, they'll buy it.
We sell ice cream on
That was
typically
my
on
question
Fridays,
is-
but
Yeah.
it doesn't, it's not a revenue source,
Right.
No,
you
it's
know,
not.
yeah, it's very limited. So, yeah.
We're always encouraging the lunch
Yeah.
first and the
Yes.
a la carte sales.
You know, kindergarten will eat the entire ice cream first.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
and then throw away their lunch that their parents just paid $4, $3.75 for, whatever it is.
Too bad you couldn't like do something with snack too.
I know, that's what I was like,
You
is
know,
there
I
a
would
way
say,
to,
like-
to not have it impact the actual like lunch meal, and there's something we can do with like fun stuff on the side that would
Yeah.
help.
Because of that, you gotta be on that list, otherwise,
Yeah, you have to buy.
yeah, you have to buy some brands and everything on that list and whatever. It's not,
That they don't wanna buy, yeah. The
they don't want
goldfish
them
that
to
are.
have too
Yeah.
many.
Whole
things.
grain goldfish.
Yeah, Tom, do you need a decision on this tonight, or is it a?
I'm only proposing that, I mean, if it's something you guys want to table
I
and
think
consider for the
everybody's-
next meeting.
I mean, we could table it,
Yeah.
until, I was talking to Darlene this past week, and I know that she was putting in the, last, you know, like, it's the end of the time, so putting in some last stuff. When I send out my announcement to, for families, I'll just leave that blank. You know, when they get the menu, they can see the increased price.
I hate tabling too many things, because then,
Yeah, but it might be good to let Scott take a
Oh,
look at the
yeah,
numbers and decide if that's where he wants the money to come from, like he, lunch and food is important, it's
I mean, it might not be a significant amount, like I had just said to Megan, when you add up those numbers for lunches, we
Yeah,
sold like 17,000 lunches, but that also includes free and reduced, but just off the top, it'd be about times 25 cents, $4,200. So
Yeah, it's-
maybe it would
Divide
be
by
more like
four.
$2,700, I don't know. But it might not be a huge significant amount if it's that much.
I think for me, it's not so much the covering the 25 cents, it's the additional money that we had to float.
Yes.
So it's like $5,000 to cover the 25 cents.
Yeah.
Plus, and I just did fuzzy math to get to the $5,000. You actually had them all up. I just averaged 2,000,
Yeah.
whatever it
Yeah.
was a month, and then, but then it's the additional money that
yeah.
is
Right, if we have to
unaccounted
flow more
for,
money in,
right?
that's gonna be the.
So now we're at a 15 to 25K.
Yeah. Which is what we
Well,
floated
we said
this year.
28 last year.
Oh,
That's
28, okay, never
28.
mind, so then we're at 33, right?
28.
So that's the problem there, and that's why I asked the question, like, I'm not sure actually that
than
$4 is enough.
It's enough, but that opens up other it connects with other grants.
I know, but
and stuff.
I think, one of the things I think we should give some time to figure out is like, does it need to go to 425? And I know that that's even more expensive, but given where we are with the budget, like, we don't have,
I hate to go 50.
You're gonna just lose, I think.
Yeah,
you'll
gonna
a lot
lose
of
the
people
number.
I think we
doing that.
really annoy parents,
Yeah, you'll just lose
So-
membership and.
Tom,
but I
would
agree.
$3.99 work as well
Get rid
as
of the
$4?
deficit 100%.
You know,
It's-
actually,
Kathy, you want me to give back pennies?
Huh?
I was gonna say, four's a
Sounds-
nice
want me
number to
give
work
$4.99,
with.
want me to give roll
Yeah,
that?
it's just kind of like when you're looking at items, that's why the
Yeah.
pricing's $3.99, but people
Yeah,
don't get the
honestly,
same.
Preston's proposing a number that starts with 3. So they haven't come up with that
Yeah.
number, but
But I was just thinking,
some of the conversations relate on that same topic in terms
Yeah,
of things starting.
and we
with
They
wouldn't
get a lot of casino money.
Yeah, four just kind of, it's like the difference between getting one duster for $3 or $5, you know, I got $2, but.
Students that need it is more of a convenience for parents, so $39
For your
versus
full day
$4,
yeah.
it's not good.
I've seen people
It-
hand
it
cash
does
to you in the
equate-
hallway,
In the
so
hallway.
I've seen that, so,
The
yeah.
$4 meets the paid lunch equity school
Yeah.
recommendation of
Okay, what
401 rounded down to the closest rounded
number,
nickel,
so,
Now, how, do we allow cash still, or is it only the check that comes in or the online
I
balance?
get all kinds of payments.
She does, I've seen people hand her money in the middle of the
Well, I
hallway.
see that, but like,
And I put them in my
do
pocket
kids
and I get home and go, whose money is in my pocket that I have?
Do
in my
kids
pocket?
pay it though at the, like, or is it
No.
only?
No,
older?
no.
Everything comes
Yeah,
to the,
only-
Yeah, so
main
Shawna
office.
takes everything from them. They'll come in and pay her $1. My mom said to give this to you. And so, you know, she'll take it and put it and apply it. So people can, some people pay by the day, like the kid's only allowed to get once a week. And they just come in with their $4, or they put $25 on and, you know, she'll apply it that way.
I thought so, and that makes it a little more palatable to do an odd number, just because it's,
Right.
you know,
so you're not making
just
change
writing
out of your
a
pocket.
check or
But
something.
if it's like the closest thing to 401, then,
And we're using the least expensive accounting system for lunch, correct?
Rev track
Because I remember we
PowerSchool.
looked into that,
Yeah,
and there was
everybody
a
looked
lot of
into that,
costs
yeah.
attached to
Yeah.
trying to figure that out.
425 would go a long way to what you
Parents
have
say
to
that
sit
would
out.
upload your money, so, yeah.
You
I
think it
would say
would-
based on the reimbursement, the amount of paid meals we get, it wouldn't.
To 425?
Yeah.
I mean, I would agree. I think 425 probably makes sense. I just think people would have probably a hard time with 425, like 50 cents again. And it's probably because we didn't go up like if we went up last year, maybe we wouldn't have felt it as much, you know?
Yeah.
You know, you hate to go up on people,
yeah, if
but
you don't go up, then you end up with a bigger,
if you don't go up this year, then I think we have to think
Yeah.
about, okay, then what's gonna happen next
yeah,
year? We're gonna have
what's
to go up
gonna happen?
75
I
cents?
agree
I mean, I don't
with
know.
Chris, we gotta go
That
at
would be
least,
more popular than my idea to shut it down.
no, that doesn't sound popular.
People would rather pay. I mean, it rots, like all across the board.
Yeah.
And it really rots that we're sitting here discussing food for students like this.
And for
That's
some
where we're
kids, even if they're not on free and reduced, for some kids, this is like the meal they're getting.
Yeah.
They're not getting something else at home, they're getting Pop-Tarts or something, whatever, for evening meal, depending on parents' schedules and whatever.
Is there an alternative, or have you looked at an alternative to a hot lunch, just on Megan's question or suggestion? So,
An alternative such as.
like sandwiches, I don't know. Is there one, I should ask?
There could be there could be a variety of options. The trouble is deli meats, typically proteins on a bun are so expensive now. So we're still trying to utilize the government commodities. We do get, cooked chicken, we do get cooked ground beef, raw beef. We do get some.
You don't
incentive
get
from
sliced
brands.
turkey though.
We do offer a sandwich as an alternative.
Yeah,
We
but-
continue to try to offer multiple things to maximize the amount of kids that attend lunch. But are you talking like possibly going to a modified service of just
Like
cold
a brown
lunches?
paper bag lunch.
I guess, or like, is there, from a menu perspective, right? So one way to solve this is to change the price. The other way to solve this is to look at what we're serving. So my question is, have you, in your opinion, is there any opportunity within the menu to make any changes to what is up? Like, if we keep the menu the same, we have to raise the price. Well, what if we change the menu? Could that?
Is lunch 2 cheaper than lunch 1?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the government commodities that we menu as our main are already your cheapest option because we've already in theory purchased those things at a discount from an allowance we accrue from reimbursable meals.
So the peanut butter and jelly is offsetting the
It's
chicken.
more like pasta meat sauce, we're able to get government sauce, we're able to get government ground beef, so it's really the cost of a pasta and a side salad or a dinner roll to go with that. So to follow the meal patterns where you have to offer 5 components, you could do it, but if you're gonna get the reimbursement, you need to make sure that your 5 components are offered. Now, then you just run the risk of repetitiveness if you're only offering sandwiches, and then that in theory might hurt your lunch count. So variety is a little something we focus on, hopefully maximize those. And, unfortunately, some of the busier days are the ones that we invest in a little bit. Amy will tell you, like the brunch day, the pizza day, the chicken nugget day, those are the popular days, so.
Does anybody ever do like demand pricing?
Well, we have a cooperative, we're part of the East Con Cooperative, so what we do is we submit a list, every district kind of goes by usage reports from vendors, and we try to get bid pricing. You know, East Con is a bunch of little schools in this area, districts, so we sit on the, as a cooperative, and we try to go to vendors and say, hey, as a cooperative group, we're gonna buy this nugget, and those prices you are seeing, you know, I use the term flatline, but they've already been, they're elevated, but you're not seeing the continued heavy spikes that you were seeing.
So have you already done this year's ordering?
I did for government commodities, so you
Oh,
get your
okay.
allowance, your allowances come in around January, and by Valentine's Day, you typically, you get a list of items that the government's gonna offer, and then the trucks come in from September of this year coming, and they come in through there, so. Because we have to offer fruit and vegetable at every lunch, those typically, we make sure we hit those items because we have to offer them. And then we try to go to center of the plate proteins and the beefs and the chickens and stuff.
Are we hitting any of the farmers with the fruit and vegetable stuff?
A little, we had an opportunity to do a grant. We didn't participate. It was a grant in the word grant, but it was really a reimbursement. I didn't choose to do it because you had to buy all the money, you had to pay up front and then wait for the reimbursement, because there was a grant set, and then the USDA, the government cut that whole grant back. So if you wanted to participate, you had to pre-purchase. It was a grant that was supposed to link schools and farmers to schools. It got a little convoluted. It was basically some corporations, in my opinion, that have popped up calling themselves farms and then charging a higher than normal price. You know, a good example is somebody who's trying to sell lettuce locally at like $135 a case, the same case of lettuce that I could get from a Cisco or Thurston or another distributor for like $50. But they're like, it doesn't matter, you're gonna get reimbursed, you know, it just didn't make good sense. So it's the one grant, sadly, that I did not go for. It just didn't seem to make good sense for us. But there is some incentives to buy local, but they're not quite set to be good for everybody.
Thank you for keeping us up.
Yeah, thank you.
For sharing
Doing
us
the
I
out.
wish I had better news, honestly.
Yeah, this is how everything is now, with everything coming in.
Yeah, I think, like I say, when we started this journey years ago, a lot of it, there was some
We
years
weren't
the board that'll pay, some years the school will pay, and it's been a shuffle of, but now
We didn't
everybody's so
even know how to
tight.
get commodities when you started. We weren't even getting commodities.
Now we have a freezer to store.
Yeah,
It's a pretty nice freezer,
Yeah.
honestly.
So Tom, can I, let's see if, maybe you know, maybe you don't know the answer. Maybe Amy, maybe you know the answer. Dee Dee, maybe you know the answer. Maybe anyone here knows the answer. It doesn't seem like we budget for almost anything for food service. When we start the year,
Yep.
we're budgeting virtually no money, $6,000 for the entire cost of lunch.
Yeah.
And then what happens is we get a revenue, which offsets obviously our expenditures. So does that get different? I'll get all this, I promise, but can we budget revenue? Can you budget, in other words, we should be able to estimate, predict to a
This
degree.
is the first year we've ever had to pay anything out by the things. We've always come out even.
But for a future
For
idea to
future.
help us.
Just the idea would be, if we know how many kids, we can get a close estimate of what we should get, therefore we can determine how much we should spend. Therefore not being in that situation, hopefully. But here, I'm just saying if anyone knows the answer, we only budgeted a total of $6,635 for the entire lunch program.
Right.
It cost, net cost was about $34,000. So the net cost, right? So we're in the whole 28-ish thousand on that. Do you know if that's?
Typically, it hasn't been the practice to budget, but we also had excess funds, and I think Adam sort of, I wasn't always part of the
Okay, yeah,
budgeting
you would, yeah,
component,
I would
but-
think you would be, I just didn't know if.
We would maybe have to talk to the accountant because with the expenditure only budget, if we end up taking in more than what we're spending, that, I think that has to go to the town. So
Yes.
I think we'd have to ask the accountant if, like.
And that
what
might,
looks
that's what I'm
like.
saying, that might just be the strategy.
Yeah,
to
yeah,
not
like
budget
having,
anything.
right,
And
right.
then-
That's what I'm thinking is so then it,
Flip a coin and hope you get
he
on
can
our right
just
side.
reimburse himself with the revenue versus it going back to the town.
But in this case, you're out.
Right, it was a roll of the dice and.
Yeah,
And what-
Yeah.
Is that probably how it's been then? We roll the
Yeah, you
dice?
see
That
like-
would be my-
It's been even every year.
So you
yeah,
see,
but-
like, we had
yeah.
401 and it was little profit,
Yeah, we never had
and then
that
it's
problem.
this, you know, like the
That's
proposed.
the same thing, so
it-
not budgeting expenditures.
Right, not budgeting expenditures, and then it jumped to, yeah, the difference is
Yeah, suddenly it's
30 grand, you know, the 28, close to
Yeah.
28, and we had been up 6 grand. So it was like minor, negligible year over year.
Yeah,
forever.
it was negligible for the
And
last
then
20 years.
just this
We
year,
never
it was
had
like,
to pay out
okay,
anything.
happy.
It even been out by the end.
Do we know what the difference, the main difference? What was the main difference that this year we went in the hole over 30 grand? If we were up 4 last year and down 28 this year, in the hole 32,000, do we know?
A lot of it, one is everybody back to full pay. When everybody was free for breakfast, which was, we transitioned from COVID. COVID came, hybrid, everybody free. Then we were everybody free for another year. Then it went to lunches were paid, for breakfast for free. We were really aggressive about sending kids home with breakfast. Our breakfast reimbursement.
Yes, you can count for
Our
that.
breakfast reimbursements really carried us
Carried
until
us.
this past year when we were back to full pay everywhere.
So 24, 25 was the first year back to normal?
Cool, yeah.
Everybody back to full pay, and in a district where we're only 20, high 20% free and reduced.
Yeah.
You know, it's.
I will say when.
But if you go
when they were
back to the-
budgeting, I'm sorry, I don't know if I should talk or not. When they were budgeting for last year's budget, it was still very unknown whether or not they were gonna cover those lunches and breakfasts.
Yes.
So I think it was not put in the budget.
Either out of the state.
And that's why there was such a deficit.
I think it's pretty clear they're not going to give us free breakfast from the state or feds or free anything this year.
It seems to be the case.
Yeah, if you go back to like the 16 to 21, we always were breaking even. It was just with the COVID, we were breaking even, making some money. And we got new refrigerator, things like that. And it's just now that we're back, we didn't look into the right
We
numbers.
haven't touched our prices long
Yeah.
enough to compensate.
Yeah, and we did raise prices last year, we probably should have, and then we could go to 425 this year without people choking.
So are we gonna table this for next time?
Scott, what do you think? Do you need a couple more minutes to
If-
ruminate on it? I'm
Yeah,
not,
if your enrollment's down again and you're gonna fund another quarter per lunch, you're gonna be down more than $28,000. Unless something else is significantly different, which it doesn't sound like you're expecting anything to be significantly different. The only thing that would have been different if those ovens you were talking about before, if those were purchased this year, and part of this was a very high, capital expense, that doesn't seem to be the case either. So if your capital is in good shape, right, you don't have to worry about that, that's good. You're staffed, I'm sure we're staffed appropriately, we're not overstaffed. And so if you don't raise it, regardless of what, I still don't quite understand that other part about, it. We have to cover that. That's new for me, because we don't, again, states are different, but we can choose our own rate and charge the rate, and that's the rate.
Yep.
It sounds like you can do that here too, though.
I'll share the tool with you if you'd like. It's a paid lunch equity. It does come, it's a federal tool that we do use. It comes from the State Department of Ed, but.
Do you have any idea when we might get the raise, if we're gonna get a
I
raise?
don't know when they announce the new reimbursement rates. Your first claim really for August, September isn't due in until October 15th. Usually you see those new Fed rates somewhere in late August typically.
I would hate my first things out of my mouth to say charge parents more money.
I know.
So
I know.
I guess selfishly, maybe we punt, let me look at this a little closer and get a little bit more under it
Yeah.
before I can make a recommendation. If that's okay with you guys?
Amy already said that was okay to just start it out.
So you'll just send out something that says the rate.
And then they get the menu.
Yeah, the prices are on top of the
Do you
menu.
send that out before our next BOE sort of a meeting? When, because
Depends when you have it, because I don't have homerooms on it, so.
we have an August meeting.
If you have an
might be able
August
to
meeting, we
slip
might
that
do it,
in.
slip it
Yeah.
right in there, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll have to have an August meeting, depending on the referendum, up or down, regardless, we gotta have a meeting. We can't skip August this year, which we have in the past.
Well, thank you very much for
Thanks,
the
Tom.
detailed discussion. Always a pleasure
We
to.
grilled you this year.
That's a tough year, you know.
It's the reality, honestly, it's sadly a tough, you
So
know.
everybody
It's
else
not
in
just
the
my
area
department
is
either,
pretty,
right? You experience
everybody
the same.
else is pretty much raising.
Grizzled went a year ago, they've been at 4.
And
The rest are
prior
in
to.
the same discussions of
yeah,
what they're gonna
they're
do.
still discussing.
You know, when the State Department of Ed comes to review, that's really when they really dig deep. So Grizzled we anticipated and did have an administrative review, so we did proactively raise it prior to. So we're not due here yet for probably another year and a half or so we're hoping. But certainly, Scott, if you want, I'll share you that, I'll forward you that pay lunch equity letter that comes out typically second week of June. That comes out of the year, and in theory gives you a chance to make the adjustments before the new school year.
Starts.
So,
Yeah.
great.
Thank you very much. Okay. So item number 3, any public comments? I haven't seen anybody coming in at this point.
I think Jen has something.
Oh, Jen.
No,
Oh, no. You're
I just want to, I know you guys are discussing what's going on with the high school thing. I just want to, because I got people asking questions like.
Sure.
You know, particular drivers who need to know everything about everything. And I just want to
She's not
information from the horses now.
She's just taking notes.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Okay. All right. We'll move to item number 4, consent agenda. Everyone's had a chance to look at that. I know with Scott being new here, I looked at a few of these items. It's more of interest to him at this point. We all look at it monthly. But if we're comfortable with those items, do we have a motion to approve as presented?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None heard? Motion passes to approve. Move to item number 5, the administrative reports. So, Mrs. Ceppaletto?
July is typically slow, but we started summer school. We have 7 students who are on summer school. We have 2 teachers teaching that. It wraps up actually next week. So they've been in about 5 weeks, so 4 or 5 weeks already so far. We are preparing for the abatement on the 17th. So that is coming up right as soon as summer school ends. They come in within that next hour and they'll start preparing classrooms for those last 4 classrooms for the full abatement of those rooms. One thing about enrollment, I just wanted to let everyone, just kind of know, we probably have enrolled or going to be enrolling between preschool and kindergarten, probably about 10 to 15 kids. But we are also losing every time my Facebook comes up, somebody else has posted a house for sale in Voluntown. So we probably will break even with enrollment, if not maybe a few less. There are quite a few kids who are moving, transferring. So those numbers are always a ride in the summer, but we're kind of working through that right now. I have not gotten, I meant to ask Darlene, any high school enrollments yet, which is interesting for us because typically people want, not so much even transferring, but within district, but transferring from, Canterbury, Stony, wherever, and moving here. And we, oddly enough, haven't gotten any. So that was pretty stagnant. we talked last time about teachers who have gone away. I had shared with Scott, Val, Sarah, and Tula made it to Austin, Texas. They went to the Elevate conference. They met people, you know, like Jerry Brooks was there, you know, that guy. He was there, he was great. A couple other people.
Did he go full accent?
I believe so. She got me a signed copy of the book. They're like, we got you a book. I'm like, thank you. He was there. A lot of people that you see on like TikTok, but you know, they do these conferences. So he's hysterical. Yeah. So they met him and the people at this Elevate conference, a lot of good things that they have. And Karen's away right now doing that intensive with the Native Americans down at Mohegan Sun. So that'll be interesting to hear and see, you know, what's, you know, happened for that. But other than that,
We've got an African safari happening at the school.
Lauren has been away in Africa. Yeah, that's like,
a fun
that's
follow.
amazing. Seeing some of those pictures, I'm like, wow, you really like went all in. Like she was out there. Yeah, of course she did. Of course she did. Out there in the jungle. So that was pretty cool to see.
That was incredible.
Yeah. I think for me, that's it. Any other questions?
6 years achieved. There's all sorts of stuff. It's just incredible work.
Megan. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff. So.
Yep, that's great.
Okay, that's it for me.
That's it? Okay. Well, thank you. Item number 2.
That's all right.
We have to welcome the official welcome at your first board meeting in July and your sojourn from New Jersey to Voluntown, Connecticut.
This was
6
the
times
week.
squeezed to Sunday.
When we mapped this out, this week was the week. This is it. So, but we're good. So one of the things right off the bat that I'm diving into is the buses. So we have, that actually was brought up at the town meeting as well, someone asked a question about that. We have provided a purchase order to a company to purchase the 4 buses. But at this moment, we do not have a plan for payment. There's no approved loan. There's no lease purchase agreement. There's just we've ordered buses. So I'm in the middle of 2 things. One, getting a loan. The way you do that, the best way to do that is to make sure you're getting a few quotes so that you're getting the best rate. So the person who's selling the buses, Scott Davis, is also going to provide us a quote for that. And we have a Wells Fargo quote. I don't know if it's still in play because it's a little older.
Yeah, that one was the one.
But I'll go through a process to get at least one more. So we'll have 3 quotes to get the best rate. The big deal right now, Scott Davis was here today, and he is giving us his offer on trade value for the buses. So we're going to hear what that is. The original numbers you might have seen was an expectation of $30,000 per bus in the trade. So it would offset. So the loan, I think, would have been $389,000. And you had a 5 or 6 year choice. The rate was pretty similar for 5 or 6 years. And it was about $100,000. So that's currently in the budget as $100,000 lease payment is budgeted. So that money's accounted for next year. And just when you realize when you do this, you account for it every year. So, you know, that's not going down. So once we get the quote on the buses, which you should have tomorrow, as well as the loan, we can then actually budget the appropriate amount and make any adjustments to the budget at that point. But that's the deal. Now, if I will say, if the quote doesn't come in high enough, I'll probably get more quotes on the trade-in value of the buses. Selling buses, depending on the age and the mileage, is not hard because people would rather buy, you know, a $20,000 bus than a $120,000 bus, as long as it has enough life. So you can determine the value by the life. Now you have to sell buses after 12 years. You can't use them, so they're worthless. If you're getting rid of a bus in 12 years, it's scrap. Sells for $1,000 to $2,000 for the whole bus. It's a great opportunity to buy a bus and make a van out of it or something, but it has no other value to a school district after 12 years. And then mileage is not, you know, is that. But looking at the budget process for this, you had a high maintenance cost because it costs a lot of money to maintain these buses. So by buying new buses, you reduce your maintenance cost and add that to the lease purchase cost. So we do this currently where I am. We do every 5 years. Our entire fleet we have 67 buses. Our entire fleet is 5 years old. And every 5 years, after the balloon payment is about to be paid, we sell the buses and we get 5 new ones. That's just how we do it. And it's been very effective. And we'll see if we can get into a rhythm in the same way, if it's cost effective enough. So we'll see how long, you know, what these buses finally come in at, and I'll present that to the board. I should have that for the next meeting, or even before, I'll send that to you. and we can go from there. But you've already committed to the buses.
Yeah.
So the buses are being purchased. They're not in yet. August 15th, I believe, is what Scott said. So
Wow, before day one. That's all I wanted you to say. I was gonna ask, do we have it
Will
before
we
day
be
one?
able to get them on the road by day one?
you're right about there, because August 15th they come in, but then that's not here,
Yeah.
right? And so then we have to
Even
get
if it was
them.
here, if there's stuff they got to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
You got to do things to the buses.
Yeah.
So you're gonna join our transportation committee meeting, so you're welcome. And that's when we will discuss
Well, that was actually
further.
my question. Did you get a chance to see the transportation consultant report out presentation?
Yes.
So one of the
To a
things
degree.
that he had
Skimmed.
mentioned, I like skimmed lightly. One of the things he had mentioned was potentially working with the town hall to see about having, like, could we make an arrangement with somebody to come and actually maintain the buses at the town garage right over here? Because that is heavily underutilized and we're spending a lot of time and money sending two bus drivers.
It's the ultimate shared service.
Yeah, any thoughts on that
Oh,
or?
if it is cost effective,
Okay.
They
again,
have no maintenance. They send all
No,
this
we would
out.
have to have somebody,
Have to
an
hire
agreement with it. No, we could have an agreement
We
with
could
a
do a shared
mechanic
service
that
agreement.
could come and utilize the town garage. Like, it could be on a monthly rotation or a
so
bi-weekly or
in
whatever.
one of the districts I worked for, what we did is we ran transportation for 4 districts, and we ran the maintenance department for our district, the township, and the local school district. We serviced all the buses, and that's how we offset our costs. So if we could do a shared service with the township at a minimum, then that's something to absolutely explore.
Okay.
I don't know if it's going to be effective, but we should explore it.
Yeah, no, agreed. And even if you can have somebody come, if we have to create some sort of service agreement, consultant, but for buses, to have somebody come out so that the bus drivers aren't having to bring, 2 buses and all of that, it would even probably, I think, be helpful, even if the town doesn't have a resource.
That would certainly help the transportation coordinator to have somebody she could speak with right in person across the parking lot about issues.
I have heard that the town does not have a mechanic for their vehicles, that they're all under warranty. So we would either need to find somebody to come directly for the buses. I don't know what the buses come with.
Who uses it? Who services them?
They have them all leased.
Garage.
They have them all under warranty.
Corvell's does it.
Yeah, Corbell's does the
Corvell's
work
down
on
in
the
my
buses and Gary's does work on the vans. But to get, I don't know if Emil was allowed to freelance. He's our mechanic that we followed from place to place. If he's allowed to do work on weekends or set up a monthly schedule.
We can work and see what's possible here.
Yeah.
Because if there's a way to share this service.
But we had said that the last
Yes.
meeting, after the great presentation, that we need
It was a good presentation.
Get
it was
some of the-
great.
Yeah.
We just needed it to like condense,
Yeah.
but timing with the budget stuff was just gonna be, so I think between now and a
Next
month
year.
from now, we should get that on the docket.
Yeah.
The software tracking as well for
Great, the Rev
that
Tracks.
was a strong
Yeah,
recommendation
Rev
that
Is it called Revs?
It's not rev track, it's.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's the other thing.
That's how we collect money. Is that-
But that only costs, like 4,500.
If you're able, can you send me the 4 buses, the year and the mileage?
I can tell you right now, they're all 2017s, but I can get you the mileage for
Yeah, you
those.
said 12 years.
And have some life. So that's.
Actually, so 2017 is the model year. I think they were purchased in 2018, but.
Yeah, if you just send me that, I can, so. Well, I'd love to work with the committee and see what we come up with some ideas, cut a little cost, but keep the buses rolling.
Yeah, great.
Thanks for volunteering. It's volunteer time, We do
So
here.
one of the other things that it'll be like a year-long probably process is policy, practice, and protocol, and just looking at that.
I love
And
There was, we said yay.
that was all inclusive. I'll give you an example of one that I'm not suggesting a change. I'm just suggesting something I'm going to keep looking at. So the agenda, and Dee Dee knows this is probably coming. She probably wasn't expecting it tonight though. But the agenda has motions and under new business. So when we get to new business, the Title IX coordinator and homeless liaison, someone is going to make the motion. Is that what's going to happen?
Yes.
Right. So as part of a consent
If
agenda.
we want to, I mean, if we deem it's.
There's usually conversation
you
first.
want.
and
Yes,
discussion.
yes.
So that, and that's what Dee Dee shared. So that's going to be interesting for me to watch. So a consent agenda could have all that done already. And then the only time that you would have a discussion would be when someone wants a discussion on this certain one. So
You can pull it off consent to have the discussion for it too.
you don't even have to pull it off.
Yeah.
That's the beauty. You can leave it on the consent agenda and then you can simply say discussion. I'd like to discuss 7.2. And if everyone agrees, it's already on the consent. Then when you vote for the consent, it's done. I'm not suggesting we make a change. Just as I see things, if it's okay, if that's what you're hoping I do, I would keep pointing stuff out. And then some of them might be, Scott, that's a horrible idea, don't do that. And something, oh, that's interesting, we can explore that. That's but on the policy side, looking at, I'm looking at the purchase orders. And one of the things I noticed was a purchase order for a company. And when I'm exploring it just a little bit, I want to know how the company came to be a board-approved company. Because if it's not a board-approved company, just do the worst-case scenario. You have someone working in the building who's not a board-approved company, and something horrible happens. That's one of those really bad things, right? So I'm trying to look at the policy to see how do we actually do that? How do we ensure that anyone who works in the buildings has been vetted through the Connecticut state protocols? And because that protects the board, that protects the town from that. And so I'm just going to keep looking at those things and do a policy manual, probably overview as we go. And if there's any, I bring it up because if there are any that you already know of, like you're interested in, just let me know as you come across them yourselves. Also, systems and structures. That's what I'm supposed to do. So I'll be doing that, but not to change things. In all honesty, it's just to look and see if there's efficiencies. It's a new set of eyes. You just try that and you see if it takes. If it doesn't, we move on. I hope that's why I'm here, to help with those things. But that's for me. This is fun for me. Like that's really kind of sad for my life. But that's actually like.
It's sad for you, it's sad for.
Oh, it's very sad. This was a 5.5 hour drive, and most of the drive was on the phone call dealing with a very complex issue right now. And she's going, another drive, another. Like sometimes like, you realize I'm here, I'm sitting next to you. So, but yes, I get into this. This is going to be like entertainment, and I'll present as I find.
You
And
might see some numbers like 87, 1987.
yeah, I did see some of those.
We've been working on the 90s.
And then how regulations occur,
Yeah.
right? So board owns policy, in traditional sense, board owned policy, admin owns regulation, but some boards like to own both. And there's no right or wrong to that. Just those are the things so that's caught my attention, if that's okay. The buses, now the food service, that'll be.
And you've seen the committee, like the committee assignments of like all the subcommittees and people that are on them. So you've phone a friends everywhere, and you're obviously welcome to join all of them. So.
I think that was that another Voluntown?
Policy committee. Welcome me.
Thank you very much. I should stop talking. I'd be
You just welcomed yourself to two. So. But yeah, and also anything you can do to help our principal make her life go
so I did want to say that. I said it the other night, but Amy has been wonderful. So thank you. Dee Dee.
I mean, he did bring me a donut cake, guys.
Well played.
It is right by the house, so I can bring right by the donut cake. They open at 5. It's a beautiful thing, so I can do that. And then Dee Dee, Darlena, and Crystal, everyone has been wonderful. It's been a great start. It's not that many days in yet, I think 4 days, maybe we did 4 days so far. But I'm thrilled, so thank you again. And I'm just gonna keep plowing away at all this and keep trying to do whatever I can to support the town and the school district. And ultimately, whatever the kids need. So the other part, which we'll talk about soon, in old business, is going to be the high school. So that's another big one.
Great.
Sarah got me started on that during the interview process.
You're welcome.
I was voluntowning before I got here.
I was gonna say,
Just
Karen,
wait for that
I'll
too.
try not to,
Someone's
to annoy him too much, right? We'll try. No promises though.
This is the dark side.
Yeah, this is the dark side, right?
This is the
dark
Okay,
side.
can we switch sides?
Oh,
A little buffer.
yeah.
So.
Well, tried that on Tuesday, so. Anyway, okay, are you happy to move on now?
Yeah, I'm
We're
good.
gonna just
No,
flashlight you.
I can babble a lot,
Okay.
so let's keep going. Yeah.
Okay, we'll move on to old business then. Okay, then that opens for our high schools, high school option discussion. So, I know we made some decisions we've had lots of discussion since February at this point between our high school choice committee, transportation committee, then turned into high school choice committee, and through our discussions in combination with our overview of the transportation discussion and consultation and things that we have had more research done. And again, that presentation last month that really brought to light kind of findings from a official perspective, quite helpful. We've made decisions around the high school choice. And so we just wanted to open that up to you, or at this point, we've made some decisions around which choices we want to offer transportation to based on lottery system decisions and other, fiscal choices of transporting certain amounts of school and diminishing enrollment to those schools. And now it's a point of bringing that forth to families and bringing the community in to discuss that. I know we talked about that a little bit as well, and I don't know if you want to share your thoughts on
Sure.
that.
What's interesting about the high school options is the transportation and how many high schools you have. Obviously, that's pretty unique for 119 high schoolers with currently 8 or 9 high school options. But that's pretty awesome for kids to be able to have those choices. With the financial situation the way it is, and that is a bleak situation nationwide, not just Voluntown, being fiscally responsible as well is important. So I think when you were looking at the Ellis, for example, the interesting thing about that decision is no one is kind of hurt by it. It was really like a nice way to look at that. And in speaking about that the other day, it's not a decision that's etched in stone. It's a decision you make, but you can revert it if it's meaningful. So I had asked Ann to give me the annual cost of Ellis. I think it was 30.
Yeah.
To run the bus to Ellis is $30,000. It's a one route bus. It just leaves from here to Ellis to here. That's it. So a tuition student in any one of the 3 high schools, Norwich, Griswold, Wheeler, is an average of 14,000. One's around 13, one's 14, one's 15. So it's almost 2 kids is a break even on Ellis. If they don't go to Ellis, then they most likely will go to a paid high school. And so
They go to Norwich Tech.
they could go to another one. We don't know where they're going to wind up.
We don't know with this lottery system whether we'll
Correct.
even have any.
But the beauty of what you designed was that in 3 years, if 6 kids get into Ellis Tech, you're not overpaying for the transportation. And you would be able to look at that and make a decision in the best interest of students without making a fiscally irresponsible decision. It would be a fiscally responsible decision. And it's a really nice safety net. So what we talked about was, I mentioned this briefly, Amy, the other day, but I would love to work with Amy on getting this out to the public in September in a really positive way, and really talking it out and talking about these high schools in this way. And I think we can do a really nice job in explaining this in a way that people understand and even can appreciate the board's thinking on this, how we best support kids in a fiscally responsible way and still provide opportunities. And, you know, if you have one kid and we can't afford to bus, the parent at least still can make the decision to go there. Because if you don't designate a high school, you can't provide funds to it. So you have a series of designated high schools, the policy 5111, I believe. So if you don't have it on the list, but I want my student or my child to go to high school Z, but you only go through Y, you can do that, but you're disenrolling from Voluntown. That's how that would play out, and you're going to that school on your own. You're 100% on your own.
So for a technical school that is free tuition, is through our state tax dollars, would that still be considering like de-enrolling from?
You have to
Voluntown?
choose to have that school as a designated school.
Okay, so we have to bus there in order
They're
for.
designated, yeah.
If you
Well, if
designate-
they're
I'm just-
designated, do we have to bus?
I'll double check on
That was
that,
my understanding.
but
If you-
I would think
Tech schools,
in my
yes.
world of this, if it's a school I've designated, then I'm responsible for that transportation. So that's what you have to watch in the designation list.
Yeah.
Because if you leave it on and you say, we're just not going to transport, and a student gets in, you might still have to transport. But I'm gonna really get under the skin of that particular issue, because that was something I dealt with when I had a K-8 school district, where it was a contentious issue of should transportation be provided by a district. And it works out that we wouldn't have had a choice if we designated a high school. But states are different, so I'm gonna spend a little time on that beforehand. But we can work on that with Ann, Amy, myself, and the committee. I'm assuming that's part of the committee? You were like on all the committees, Amy. I think you were on every committee. You had 45 to 50 different abbreviations. I didn't know what one of those abbreviations meant, but Amy was like had every abbreviation in Connecticut.
Doesn't mean I always go to every committee.
Right.
I just like getting the minutes
I mean,
of what happens on
are
the
you on
committee.
building committee? I don't know.
I should be, but I just,
Yeah.
I'm not there.
Right.
Yeah.
Brian goes, he knows.
But if we can get all of those answers,
Yeah.
so that the board has all the facts, and then we could really do a nice job presenting to the community on why some of these decisions are being made in a clear way, opportunity for public comment and questions and answer, but really spend time with the community on this. And that's how I would approach it. And I think with the forethought already put in, you kind of gave me a running start with this.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. And Sarah put me through this on the interview process. So I did have a little bit of a head start understanding some of the challenges and complexities of the high school in here. So again, geek I am, this is going to be entertaining and fun to do this. And I think the community would appreciate that level of effort from us.
Absolutely, yeah, I think that's I mean, despite what decisions were made, that's fine. It's just more like, I think that's one of the greatest parts about welcoming you to the community and introducing you to the families is going to be that collaboration piece of it, of having opportunities to have spotlight nights or whatever, that is of interest to the families, and we can have conversations like that, and I think that'll be a warm welcome.
I just think before, so
You have
keep in
letters to
mind,
send out, yeah.
well, I think there's two things. One, in September 9th, we invite high schools that are designated to come.
It's quickly coming.
So I do have, I have to email them at some point and say, please put
So
this
that's
on
the
your.
one killing.
We have Killingly, we have QMC.
QMC off.
We took QMC off, so I'm assuming,
already done.
but then the policy needs to be updated, if that's what you're saying, we need to take it off.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
policy's big. So if you don't update the policy and my kid gets into that, you said, I'm thinking QVC, but I don't think it's.
Yeah, no, it's
QVC.
QMC.
We haven't had anybody in
And-
5 or 6 years.
You have a policy that says you designate that as a high school right now. So if you don't adjust that policy, which is a first read, second read adoption, It's 2 meetings. Did you already do a first read on that change?
They were given the policy to review with no changes on it. It was never like.
So that.
We took in
But they made the
QVMC.
motion.
We took QVMC, I
To
thought,
say,
didn't you
to
sign up
change
for
the
it?
policy
Legend?
with the, but there was never a first reading. I don't know.
Yeah, we had, from February on, we've had discussed the policy. It's been included into the packet.
That's a first read then.
And they
Yeah.
were waiting for the
Have-
transportation.
Did we decide on legend high for the vote?
did.
Yeah, we
We voted on that.
So it sounds like we need a second read then
Second
of
We
the,
can do a second adoption same night.
yes, so we need to do that for August.
We should probably do that for August. And because these applications, so, just so everybody knows, applications start in potentially October. So we take our kids to schools, which the public schools, we take them to NFA and we go to the Griswold Day, we do that. But the application process will start in November for them. So it's fast
Yeah.
because then they, especially for like lottery system, they don't get back to you until after the new year. So it's almost a full year by the time you kind of figure out what you're doing. So,
And the open house that we provide on, it's like the 9th of September, so it's really early, like they go back to school and then like 10 days later, we have an open house, which is great for the families to meet their teachers and like, understand like the junior high does a big,
Yeah, so they'll do that
presentation
this
on
year,
their agenda for the year and things like expectations.
and that's where people start, and we encourage them starting in 6th grade. You need to start walking through these high school selections because there are a lot. You're not just saying one, so we start hopefully when they're younger.
But so that on top of all their other open house items, there's also the
That's
sending schools
separately.
that come with it.
Right.
Yeah.
And they hand out flyers and information. And then those sending schools, then they have their open house. So then the families can be like, well,
Then
I'm
they start
interested.
inviting
and
them
they
all
invite
throughout the
them to
fall.
school. So
Yeah.
there's a lot. And it happens.
So we can get that done in August.
We need to get all of it done in August,
Until they do
pretty
that.
much.
I'm sorry, what about the second policy? Because we didn't know there was another policy that lists mentions the designated high school list as well.
We have to
That's
do.
not,
we-
so do you want them both brought?
You've already discussed both of them,
Okay.
so in a first read format. So we're gonna go with, they've already had a first
They
read.
only knew about the one. I didn't know there was a second one until.
I have them.
Okay.
So, I will look at that. And if we need to do a first and second, we can do that,
Okay.
but let me look at it first.
We gotta figure out all of it, no schools by August.
Well, it's a second read. So it's
Second read,
already,
yes.
it's already
Yeah.
what we established, but we're
Yeah.
gonna read it again, see if there's any changes. And
There probably have to be a few more changes.
there might be. Why
Yeah.
not? Yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah.
from what we amended
Yeah.
the first time around.
We only amended once where we had nobody really going.
QMC, you're
Give me
talking
a
about.
Huh?
Yeah.
QMC.
QMC and the BOAG is not a problem in that nobody was in the
So,
BOAG.
right, that's when we wanted to go to Ledger, and we had gone to Ledger.
But I think to your point about explaining to the community, I think
Yeah.
Ledger's another good example of pointing out that the thought process for the board around why was because of the expanded educational offerings that school had. And Jackie Valancourt, who just retired, but she was really supportive of the Ledger program because it offered more than Killingly.
And no one's in the other one.
And no one's in.
No one's in the other one.
4 years of no one, so you're making a decision to hopefully give kids another option of VOAG they might wanna go to.
What do we see about the fish school?
The marine science.
Marine science.
We are. We knew we were talking about, yeah.
Actually kind of concerning.
We,
although that's-
So that one was
Marine
removed,
science.
would be phased out,
We would phase out,
transportation.
okay.
So again, for the
On the list,
up,
not being designated.
yes, so for the upcoming
Cycle it through, yeah.
school year, QVMC is non-designated, Killingly is non-designated, Ellis, and we are adding Ledger
So we're taking Ellis off definitely.
as not,
Yeah.
so phasing out so Ellis
That
is
was what was
phasing out
proposed.
transportation.
Yeah,
So
that's
there are
fine, yeah.
currently students enrolled at Marine and Ellis.
So
And we
it's
will be
gonna
phasing
south
out
end.
transportation for those currently enrolled high school students. And starting for the incoming 8th grade school year.
Of which nobody got in.
sorry, no, but for the income, this
Oh,
year's
the
eighth grade
seventh,
class,
yeah,
right,
yeah.
they will have
Yes.
NFA, Norwich Tech, Griswold, Wheeler, Ledyard,
I did VOAG,
VOAG.
and that's it. That seems to know, yeah.
And students can apply to any magnet school theoretically anywhere in the state. We just don't provide transportation. No towns really do. We have.
Yeah.
But we're curtailing that.
Especially because of
Yeah.
the lottery system, it's
Yeah.
such a huge, and the cost, I mean, doing the cost study of what made the most sense and where we're
I
sending
think any
kids.
other town transports to magnet schools.
I think
I think it depends their proximity to the school, I think. Like if they're closer, yeah.
I think our area peers, what we saw when we did the case study, was a look at, you know, what some of the practices are of our surrounding towns. So what does Sterling, Canterbury, Griswold even do? And they are phasing out transportation to things like Marion Science.
So you have to drop them. If you're
Preston
pretty
will be
sure
another
we
one.
phase out the transport, we gotta drop them as a
Well, I mean,
designation.
it's, no, the tenor that we are discussing this with is the lottery system is really a huge,
Yeah,
you
we
know,
don't know what we're gonna.
cluster that nobody has control over. It's really limiting and kind of disappointing for kids, you know, that set their hopes on it, go visit the school, and then they're given a big no. And that's happening over and over in the past like 4 years where they're getting completely locked out of schools. And, you know, for our purposes, you know, if we're trying to look at things holistically, that's just, it's unfair to all of us to then, and then you get one, and then you have to transport them, and it's just so limiting. If we have 5 or however many our total is, that's a really solid educational course load that we can send to our, you know, offer them.
You have a decent number of those this year.
Yeah, we have 26 between the 2 tech schools. That was actually my question that I had is, are there any organizations or anything around that like you can keep in touch with other superintendents? Or, I mean, I know there's CAVE and things like that, but to see, because I mean, 26 students over the next 4 years, that's a lot of tuition. If it's like 15,000 a person. So I'm just wondering if there's a way that we can keep like in touch of what's happening with the lottery. If I know some people have talked about reaching out to our local representative, who's Brian Lanou, to see if there's any chatter before. I know you've said you've had people that have freedom of information stuff. So I wonder if there's a way for us to
the formula, trying to.
yeah, so I'm wondering if there's how we stay on top, because that's, I mean, 26, I mean, right now, I don't think Norwich is at the lottery yet, right? But what's gonna happen is, once all the Ellis kids can't get into Ellis, they're all gonna move over to Norwich, and then the same thing's gonna happen. So for us to have to plan for another 26 tuitions, that's.
Yes.
It's 26
That is
now.
really scary. It's very scary.
And we might get nobody into a tech school. I was at a dinner not long ago for somebody becoming Eagle Scout, and there was a whole group of, I ended up sitting with a whole group of teachers from Ellis, department heads. One of their kids was the Eagle Scout, so, and they were saying they have no idea, and they were told, often you may get no students ever from a town. It could go on for years. No matter how many apply, it could go on for years. It's a simple lottery. And then, of course, now they were worried about that. Now special ed, almost full special ed can apply. And they'll be dropped into this lottery system. There won't be as
Yeah, but
many.
that doesn't mean that it can't be changed, you know, if enough people.
Everything is just so
It would save us a
now.
lot of
Brian,
tuition.
you know.
We can make a lot of assumptions where we just.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they could.
But
Just put
that's,
the tenor of us making this adjustment now, it's
Right.
not that it's,
no,
you know, it's not
It
set in
would be
stone.
That's
Yes.
why I'm hoping that Scott has a way to at least keep in
Advocate.
touch with the other
There are some
superintendents.
groups-
So we do, we have a small school superintendent's group.
I was gonna say,
Like a
Adam goes to that.
Yeah, I've been invited to join that already, so.
No,
Yeah.
Adam went like every, like.
Yeah,
every-
I
Adam was
remember him
president
saying
for-
that they
I
were
think he was
talking.
president.
I remember
Yes.
every
Yeah.
month he would talk
Yeah.
about the meeting that he
Yeah,
was.
Adam would go every month or whatever and stuff.
I think the nice thing about the 5-school consolidation is that you're not gonna have kids that are applying for schools and applying for this lottery and waiting to see if they get in, and then the disappointment comes in January, and now they're scrambling to figure out what they want to do next. By giving them these 5, where none of them have a lottery, the kids, the parents can actually make a decision going forward that's best for their family and not hinging on some lottery system that we have no control over.
So, all right, any other thoughts before we move to, we'll see what the second reading, well, we'll look at that next month and plan for that for August, and then get right into that discussion, whether it's an adaptation to the open house when you've got the not adaptation, but addition to the open house to kind of gather people while they're still there. I mean, you might get most eyeballs for that and ears for that, but okay, great. Old bit of business item number 2 is the central office building name. I did reach out to the town hall on that, just to get their thoughts on a public building and what we could do. So I have not yet heard back, but it's out there. We can, we won't rush on it, but I'm sure that's being
busy over there.
yeah. Well, it's up right now. So anyway, I thought that would be like a little bright spot in the email train they're getting. Glad to receive that. Oh, this is a nice note. Okay, so that's the update there, and then we have faculty and staff updates. I don't know if that.
It's in there.
I know. Is it?
You all set?
So I believe she just provided you the copy of
The assignments.
the assignments.
Oh, okay. Oh,
I just think it was updated, so it was provided.
right.
Not committees, the other one. The other one. Oh yeah, it's on the back side.
Are there any changes? The last one?
No.
Well, we have the new 3rd grade teacher. Are there like different?
Yeah, so the addition would be Scott. And then Megan Black.
The chain of command, okay.
Megan Black should be added on there, and then we'll get another update in August, because the resignation you're going to accept will then come off, and then if anybody else new comes on, we'll bring that.
Scott, feel free to join the Youth Service Bureau as well. Those meetings are all virtual, 4 times a year, yeah? 5 o'clock.
I'm on that one, I'm Voluntown on that one.
20-minute meetings.
Yes, he got voluntold, he had to be on that one.
You can be on every one.
That's a fun one, though. That's a.
Yeah, plenty of money. We sent kids sailing.
Yeah, we sent.
On one last
The chaperones on that too.
partner with eating fish out here, and they all have an educational
Yeah,
component.
they're nice things they do.
Our
Make
wives
it-
What is the,
is
just
extremely
this is a
active.
one-off on that, you might know this, Christopher, but the choice, and Amy might know, the choice of Mondays.
We should not break that.
YSB days for kids.
Here's why, because people who teach YSB are teachers,
Yes.
and our faculty meetings are usually on Tuesdays.
Okay.
And then, so because of that, she did Mondays, and then because of sports
Sports,
programming,
yeah, all the
we
things.
typically play games, especially basketball season, so that's like the biggest
But there's
season
always a
ever.
game on a Monday.
Something always
Always part of that.
happening, and that's why YSB goes, typically. She has done some offset days based on like Mrs. Seifert's schedule, Mrs., whoever else's schedule. Yeah, Mondays are hard, kids forget, remember.
But sometimes it is so consistently Monday that people just know to, like,
Yeah,
they're like,
so I mean,
they can do it,
yeah.
they can do it. If they can't, they can't, but.
And that might actually, Mondays might be the best day also for Melinda, in
Yeah.
in her actual
Real
daytime
time.
job.
I know.
That also could be.
No judgment on days. I just, it was like, was there like a,
YSB also has something called the JRB in Connecticut, which are the Juvenile Review Boards. And what happened was the state kind of took truancy and juvenile matters away from themselves and gave it to the towns. And the Juvenile Review Boards meet, we've never had one.
Do we have one involved?
We've never had one. We do have one.
Oh,
And you meet with the parents and student or youngster and put forth some directives and things that would help them, that they actually don't have to follow and there's no teeth in it. It's kind of an interesting situation. We've never had one here, but that's something we have that's kind of unique to
And it's to
Connecticut.
keep kids out of the actual correction
It's
system.
more like kicking the can
Yeah.
to the local,
Yeah, no, I get that, yeah.
and it does help in a lot of cases in other towns, depending on the issue and others, no. We don't have any, never have.
Our kids are good.
Okay, well, that's the latest update on faculty and staff. We also, obviously, we had 5 retirees, so it is, we'll have some transitioning teachers to different roles. I know Mike's working with, within his technology role and helping learn, so that's then he'll
He's been
transition
doing
to
that
the
this
teacher.
summer, yeah.
Yeah, so that'll be an adjustment, just, having, learn versus having on-site, but we still have Mike, which, hopefully he's not wearing 2 hats too much, but it is good to still have somebody here that knows the role. And other than that, we'll see what comes. For new business, moving to that, the CABE and CAPS convention, that's our annual conference that is held in Mystic. So it's local enough. All board members are encouraged to go. I know this will be a big year since introducing Scott to all of our friends there, which will be, I'll be talking a lot. So that's November 21st and 22nd. The big day is Friday, which is kind of the hardship for working folks. So, but if you can mark it, and it's worthwhile. I think Cardoza is the lead speaker this year. So
Who is?
Cardoza.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
the guy last year was very good. He explained AI.
That was incredible. Yeah,
It was.
but he was just
Yeah.
a slip-in kind of like they had to change
Yeah.
out somebody.
They got some, he was incredible. He could make you understand how AI and how it develops and how it codes out, for people who didn't understand.
He was an MIT professor,
Yeah.
so
He was very, they
he knew how to
usually have a
tell
good speaker.
tell the story. So, okay. And then for item number 2 is the Title IX coordinator and homeless liaison, and that's Rachel Sahu. So we need a motion to appoint Rachel as the coordinator. She's been our coordinator.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unheard? Motion passes. Thank you, Rachel, for your support there. Okay, and then personnel. So we did receive the letter from Kathy Stickman.
27 years.
Yeah,
Wow.
retirement after 27 years as a paraprofessional here, and her dedication to all the kids of Voluntown, and we'll certainly miss her. And we accept the resignation with great regret, but we certainly hope that you have a wonderful retirement in your next chapter, and enjoy those grandkids. Do we have a motion to accept?
Motion with regrets.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unheard, motion passes. Okay,
We're done.
I know, we're close to being done. Okay, upcoming.
2 hours.
I know. So obviously we have the town referendum is on next Tuesday, July 15th. That'll run from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. I got caught by that. I tried to go in the morning, and I was like, I can't go. Like, what the heck? It starts at 12, so just so you all know, it's 12. And yeah, and please, to all your friends and all the parents out there, please, please come out and support our budget, and use your right to vote. So, and then our next regular board meeting is Thursday, August 14th, and that's during my
Now,
vacation.
Do we need a meeting if it goes down again, the fourth Thursday of July? We're gonna wait in almost almost 5 weeks before.
Yeah, the town will probably want us to have a meeting to put
Yeah,
a
they
new
will.
proposal
Yeah.
together.
So the second special meeting date is,
The fourth Friday, the 4:30.
Is the 14th good for you? You had mentioned,
Yeah, I'll be driving.
and if,
sorry.
if needed, you could
Yeah,
set
just
up a
put it
special
as
meeting at
needed,
any
it'd
point.
be
It's up to you.
one agenda thing.
You're bringing up something different. We're talking about August
Oh.
being a tough,
Our board.
our board meetings.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know I won't be here, so, or you
Oh.
won't be here.
Do we need one in August?
No, we will not be here.
Yes, we
Yeah,
need
we
a
do because
meeting
of schools.
in August to do the policies.
Will we even have a quorum?
Well, I mean, we can call in if we want to do it that way. That's not a problem. I just, as chair, I wanted to let you know that I'm just here in person.
Can we use our second July
Can you do
meeting?
it in Connecticut? Can you have a member count if they're on Zoom?
We do in this group. I was thinking that.
New Jersey session.
Well, I was gonna bring that up. I don't think we have a policy that says.
That'll be the state would overrule policy anyway.
Yeah, we do.
We do have a policy
Yeah,
that
we
says
do.
you can
Yes.
vote in it.
Yeah, and we've
That's
talked to
great.
the lawyer about it.
That's great. That's
I
good.
can't remember his name, but yeah.
Fine,
During
you know,
COVID, we went through it.
Yeah.
but I would.
But some people had to amend their policy to
Yeah.
do it, and I think we didn't have to,
Do, yeah.
you
still
We
have
don't,
COVID
it doesn't happen much.
right, in effect.
Which
Yeah.
has that wording in it.
I'm thinking, should we have the fourth Thursday of July meeting set aside, and the only thing I guess would be budget
Or
Or
any policies.
and policy.
We would do budget.
We could do the budget and policy, and get it done that day.
So the fourth, you're talking about a
If the
special
budget-
meeting if the budget doesn't pass?
Yeah. Should,
I think there's two things. I think there's a contingency plan if the budget doesn't pass. And then the second question is, should we have our second July meeting and do the second reading of the policies so we can square that high school piece away so Amy can,
Yeah, I'm wondering if we could do the August 14th on the 7th to give you guys like 3 full weeks.
Just have a super mandatory agenda and like the second reading,
I know, 24th, I can't.
any personnel issues.
should we do the 7th or the 31st?
Is that a,
August 7th.
Thursday, August 7th. It's just that Thursday before our normal meeting. We can
yep,
move
I
it.
can do that.
If the budget gets shot down, there'll be statutory
yeah.
requirements that Tracy would have to let us know.
And
But
no,
we can do a
our-
special meeting any day for that, which is
Yeah.
fine, like,
Yeah.
if we were using the 24th, that's the,
Do you need a
That's a
motion? Do you
regular
need?
meeting.
Do you want, probably, but do you want to do the regular meeting on the 7th then, or is that?
Yes.
yes, to change it from the 14th to the 7th.
Okay.
So August,
I'll have
And then
to
you
call
can-
in, but I can.
I might have to call in,
Yeah.
but that's okay.
But yeah, a motion probably would be one.
Yeah, I would just do a motion to.
Motion to move our August 14th meeting to August 7th
Second,
at 6 p.m., right?
at 6 p.m.
Yeah, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, any opposed? Unheard, motion passes to move the regular BOE meeting to the Thursday, August 7th. Okay, and then we'll just keep everyone posted on budget status after next Tuesday. Be waiting for the update, just, it's been a whole summer of it. Great, well, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion. Second.
Oh, who said it?
I get Val. Who's
Val can
second?
have the credit this time.
Who gets second?
I was Megan, I didn't have her.
Yep, I'll take
Okay,
it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
I think that's
Thanks,
every,
Val.
almost every meeting is I'm literally just the motion to adjourn.
Get out of here.
Oh, wait.